What's wrong with this picture? I'll give you a hint. The states colored in orange have all passed constitutional carry laws, thus liberating their gun-owning citizens from the burdensome and downright unconstitutional governmental barriers to the God-given right to bear arms, open or concealed, without a permission slip from a bureaucrat. Constitutional carry is the gold standard of pro-gun legislation at the state level, and thanks to the hard work of the pro-gun grassroots and the National Association for Gun Rights, it is the law of the land in 27 states and counting. Which brings me back to my original question. What's wrong with this picture? You may have noticed that Louisiana, a state that calls itself sportsman's paradise, still has not passed its own constitutional carry law, despite being surrounded by constitutional carry states. So how the heck has a state with such a strong tradition of gun ownership and pro-2A values failed to restore the gun rights of its citizens by passing a constitutional carry law of its own? The simple answer is gun owners in the Bayou State have been repeatedly failed, no, betrayed by their lawmakers, including self-proclaimed pro-gun state legislators. But before I continue, please like this video and subscribe to the National Association for Gun Rights YouTube channel, and be sure to click the links in the description box to sign our petitions and do your part to oppose the gun control agenda today. So, back in 2021, so-called pro-gun Republicans held supermajorities in the Louisiana House and Senate. And when champion State Representative Danny McCormick introduced constitutional carry, his bill sailed through the state legislature with veto-proof majorities in both chambers. Now that detail is critical because we knew at the time Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards, an outspoken anti-gun Democrat, was certain to veto Representative McCormick's bill as soon as it hit the governor's desk, which is exactly what happened. But the fight was far from over. You see, in order to undo Governor Edwards' veto, we only needed the same politicians who already voted for constitutional carry earlier that year to take two easy actions. First, we needed Republicans in the state legislature to call for a veto override session. In theory, this should have been the hardest obstacle to overcome. You see, veto override sessions are extremely uncommon in Louisiana, so we knew it would take tremendous grassroots pressure to take our fight into overtime. But thanks to the outstanding activism of NAGR members and supporters, the politicians did their job and scheduled the override session. Now, the next step should have been easy. All that was necessary for a constitutional carry victory in Louisiana at this point was for the same lawmakers to vote exactly how they voted the first time around. Unfortunately, the persuasive power of Gun Control Inc. proved too tempting for 5 senators who flipped their votes during the override session, in turn killing all hopes of a constitutional carry bill in Louisiana that year.
Since I've been in the legislature, I have voted for every piece of firearm legislation that has been proposed. And I voted for this one in the last session. And so if your question is, well, why are you changing your mind today? That's a fair question.
I am a supporter of the Second Amendment. I do have a concealed carry permit. We all say we want to protect the blue. I stand here today to tell you, let's protect the blue. Let's sustain the governor's veto. Thank you.
Members, I stand up here today in support of the Second Amendment, in support of gun ownership and gun rights in the Second Amendment, wholeheartedly. For over 20 years, I've voted to defend it. I voted to make sure that we have the greatest latitude under the Constitution for rights for the Second Amendment that we can have here in the state of Louisiana. Now, for the constitutional issue and those that say this is a vote for or vote against the Second Amendment, let me tell you it's not. We vote overwhelmingly in this legislature to support the Second Amendment, and I have in all these years. This is not a vote about the Second Amendment.
I've been accused of being flip-flopping. We're dividing our house and we're going to collapse. Let's find a way to come together. I'm not voting for this bill, and I will not vote for any other bill to override the governor's veto here on out.
And this 2021 case study is just one example of the politicians in Baton Rouge dropping the ball when it comes to passing constitutional carry. So what's next for Louisiana? I'm sure if the politicians had it their way, NAGR and our pro-gun activists would just pack up and leave. But that's not how we do business. Louisiana is a Tier 1 state for our constitutional carry program, and we will spare no expense in demanding the God-given rights of Louisianans are restored. And it just so happens Louisiana is holding elections this year. The situation is crystal clear. The most direct path to Louisiana becoming a constitutional carry state in 2024 is to demand the gubernatorial candidates pledge their support for constitutional carry before the election. And I have good news and bad news. First, the good news. Louisiana Attorney General Jeff Landry, the Republican frontrunner in this year's governor's race, returned his NAGR candidate survey 100% pro-gun, pledging to oppose gun control and fight to make Louisiana a constitutional carry state. In fact, Landry has been an outspoken supporter of constitutional carry for years. Now for the bad news. Sean Wilson, the leading Democrat running for governor, is refusing to return his NAGR candidate survey. Shocker. By failing to return his survey, Wilson is refusing to go on record against radical California-style gun bans, which would arbitrarily ban hundreds of types of firearms based solely on cosmetic features. Moreover, Wilson's refusal to pledge his support for gun rights is a clear sign that he would follow in Governor Edwards' footsteps and veto constitutional carry if given the chance. So if you're watching this video from Louisiana, remember what it felt like in 2021 when the lawmakers stabbed you in the back, and keep that in mind when you go to the polls. If you happen to live in any of the 23 remaining non-constitutional carry states, we hear you. Your National Association for Gun Rights began fighting for constitutional carry back when it was considered nothing more than a pipe dream for all but a handful of states. And now, more than half the states in the Union have these laws on the books. Of course, it is only through the grassroots activism of our members and supporters that we have made it this far. So please, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the National Association for Gun Rights YouTube channel if you have not already, and click the links in the description box to sign our pro-gun petitions today. For the National Association for Gun Rights, this is Ryan Frasor.